What up? What up? What up? It's your favorite podcast with your favorite podcast host. Talking your favorite podcast message. Talking the favorite podcast stuff. What's happening? It's Freewenow. It's Freewenow. Freewenow. It's Freewenow.
Till it is. 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 It is. It is. Backwards.
What up? What up? We back. It's Freewenow.
Till it is backwards.
Yes, sir. Ski. Hey, we in the school zone. Gotta drive slow.
Drive slow.
You know what I'm saying? Gotta drive slow on this one, right? So, what you got for the people before we kick it off?
Nothing. Let's get into it.
All right, so look, you got Paul, right? Paul, you know what I'm saying? He used to be set tripping. His name used to be Saul.
Saul.
Okay.
He was a dog back then.
You know what I'm saying? So he used to, you know what I'm saying? He used to put bags on their head. If you're a Christian, I'm putting a bag on your head. You know what I'm saying? So he used to persecute Christians. All right?
Hunt him down.
Hunt him down. Walk him down, right? But now he's changed his name to Paul, right? Now he's of the Lord, for the Lord, working for the Lord. And now we're picking up in Acts 20, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he is on a farewell tour. So he's, you know what I'm saying? This is Kobe, you know what I'm saying? Well, you ain't Kobe to us, right? This is a Kobe farewell tour. And he's now back in, I think, like Asia, right? Or Asia, right?
Yeah, he's going through Asia, Greece, all these different places.
Right. And so he's connecting with all these people that he went, you know, and preached to and taught, right? And so we're picking up on this farewell tour right now. And important to note, they are also just coming off of Passover, right? So Passover, y'all know what Passover is. All right, real quick. Passover is just essentially when the Israelites got freed from Pharaoh, right? When they call it an Exodus, right? When Moses let him out, right? Before he, you know, got free, God had to send 10 plagues to get them free, right? Because Pharaoh was like, nah, I'm not doing it. So God was just sending plague after plague after plague. Finally, the 10th plague, right, is where we get Passover from. Whereas like the 10th plague comes and God was like, all right, this plague is coming and all of the firstborn kids are going to die, right? Specifically the firstborn sons. Because back then the firstborn was like your lineage, your family, history, everything got passed down to the firstborn son. So God's like, look, we about to send this plague and we're going to kill all the firstborn sons if you don't let my people go. And they didn't believe him. So Passover comes from when God was like, all right, sacrifice a pure lamb, put the blood over your doorway, right? So when the plague comes, right, it'll pass over your house and hit all the people who don't have this pure lamb's blood over the house. That's how we get Passover. So it's thousands of years later. Paul is now teaching. They coming off of a celebration of remembrance of that, right? And so they pick up now to where Paul is like, hey, look, y'all my people. I love y'all, but I'm headed out.
So Paul is essentially doing, like he said, his farewell tour. He went down to Greece. He's doing some preaching in Greece. He's been there for a couple of months. And he's about to get on a cruise to Syria. You know what I'm saying? He was like, let me take the boat down here so I can keep preaching. He finds out there's a plot to get him killed, right? The Jews are trying to kill him, off him. So he says, you know what? Instead of doing that, I'm going to go back through Macedonia the way that I came. So he stops in Troas and he essentially does a preaching session. Now, as Hassan said, this is, you know what I'm saying, this is last hoorah in this specific area. He don't think he's ever going to see these people again. So my boy started preaching to his people and it was long. It was a long time.
A long time.
You know what I'm saying? We complain about the 8 to 10 service. They said he preached to midnight. Now, they didn't say when he started, but if you preaching to midnight, I know you've been going for a while.
For a while.
So there happens to be a young man, we're going to call him Lil E. Lil E was up in the top.
Eutychus.
Lil E was up in the top, sitting by a windowsill, and he's dozing off. He's been listening to Paul talk for a while.
Paul, you my man. It's been late.
It's been late. You know what I'm saying? I just got off work. You know what I'm saying? I got to go. So when he's listening to Paul talk, he falls asleep and he falls out the window ledge. Now, just imagine the turmoil. You'll listen to this pretty introspective and great preaching from a great disciple, and then a little man fall out the window and dead. You know what I'm saying?
They say it felt like 3 stories.
3 stories, right? Because they used to teach in the upper room, go to the upper room. So he fell 3 stories, he fell down dead. Paul kept it player, went down there, rose him up, said, he's not dead, he's good to go. And then he went back to preaching, right? And they said he preached to midday. So after he does the preaching session, he gets back on the road. He continues to stop through different areas. And there's one place in particular that he wanted to stop, right? Ephesus, right? Where they have this church of people that he helped bring up, right? It's in Asia. So he calls from the people and says, what y'all doing this weekend? I can't stop. I'm trying to get to Jerusalem. I missed Passover, trying to get there for I can't remember the name of it. Pentecostal. I'm trying to get there for the Pentecostal. So y'all meet me in this city and then we'll chop it up. As he said, these are people he helped bring up, some elders in the church, and he starts speaking to them in a very somber manner. He says, hey, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be the last time I see y'all. But remember what I told y'all. Remember the type of man that I was. Remember how I preached to y'all. Remember that I ain't never take no bread from y'all. Remember that, you know what I'm saying, I live by the teachings that I have. Be vigilant of the people under your care, because they're going to be snakes inside your teaching as well as outside of your teaching. So essentially just giving them a breakdown on how to conduct themselves as he departs from this area. Now, of course, these men love my boy Paul. They love him, right? Because he helped almost solidify their beliefs in God. So they crying. They crying and praying and praying and crying. And then my boy Paul go about his way. Now, that's just like a little short synopsis of how the story went. Get in that Acts 20 and break it down.
Facts. Yeah. I'll start with the first one. Our dude, Lil E.
Lil E.
Lil E. You know what I'm saying? Parlay didn't fell out the window. You know what I'm saying? I love God, but you know what I'm saying? You in there too long. Like you said, hey, we think staying in church to 2 p.m. too long. You know what I'm saying? Imagine to the break of dawn. Midnight. But even in that, it's like, okay, E is there. Eutychus is there. Obviously, you want to hear the word. But when we miss it, when we fall asleep, you know what I'm saying? Like when your grandma pinching you to wake up, you're like, Grandma, I'm here though.
I'm here. I showed up.
God know my heart. You feel me? He falls out the window and dies. Paul picks him up, embraces him, right? And he comes back to life. I think that just shows a moment of grace, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're gonna miss it. You're gonna fall asleep. He was probably, I don't know, maybe he was outside playing video games. You know what I'm saying? Knowing he got to go to church or whatever. Nonetheless, right? He there, right? So that just shows me that number one, Jesus, God, we have the same powers that God has given Jesus, right? He brought him back to life. Let's not skip over that. This ain't a video game. This ain't Call of Duty where you can just hold down X until they come back to life.
Yeah, ain't no revive.
Ain't no revive button, right? So for you to be able to do that, that lets you know your spiritual frequency, right? How you're operating and what you're able to do, and the faith to even not panic. It was so brief. It was like almost like a couple words, a one-liner, and then they just kept talking. It just shows me that, number one, they expect this from him. Two, he's probably done it before because they didn't harp on it. If I see you bring somebody back to life,
you don't get to go right back to preaching.
I don't just like, okay, he's brought back to life. Oh, he died? Oh, he's back to life? All right, cool, whatever. All right, we're going to break some more bread. Hey, y'all bring out some orange juice. We're going to take communion or whatever. Like, we just sped by that. So that lets me know, number one, Paul is one of the ones. Two, that's a moment of grace to show everybody that, like, hey, even when you miss it, God still got you.
That's big. And I think one of the first lessons that I learned, right, there will be danger and turmoil on your path to your purpose. So when we talk about Paul, they was out to get him. As a sense, it's almost like his karma. Because he went from hunting Christians down to being the hunted. You know what I'm saying? But when people say that, people say they got ops and they was out to get Paul. Like, this was not an easy life. It was bad.
Like governments.
And the crazy thing is he knew it was going to be bad.
Yeah.
As they say that the Holy Spirit was telling him that his path was going to include sorrow, danger, beatings, jail. He knew that this was going to come along with pursuing his purpose. But he was so focused on his purpose that he would much rather be beaten and killed than to just lollygag and act like this is not supposed to happen. Right. So understand that when you pursue your purpose, and when I mean your purpose, I mean the God-given one, the one that you're actually put here to do, there is going to be turmoil. There is going to be danger, but you have to be so focused on your relationship with the Lord that you don't allow any of these things to become distractions. Though Paul spent a lot of his life being beaten, being disrespected, being yelled at, he changed numerous lives that people would never be able to actually say that they did without going through the things that he did.
Right.
So just understand that with your purpose, turmoil and danger comes. It's not going to be an easy path. When you follow along with Jesus, they out here for you. It just is what it is.
It is what it is, right? Don't take it personal.
Don't take it personal.
That's part of the work. You're not above the program. You feel me? That's part of the work. Don't take it personal, bro. That's part of the work. And I'm talking to myself right now. I'm talking to myself like, don't take it personal. Like, don't be so emotional about this. You know what I'm saying? Do the work and believe in God, right? I think the other point I'll point out is that it mentioned in the text how there's going to be snakes within, right? So don't think that something isn't the truth because you see a false representation of it, right? Don't think that, hey, I'm gonna stop believing in God, or I'm gonna stop going to church because I went to this one church and the preacher didn't do right, or I went to this one church and the greeter didn't greet me appropriately. They weren't as nice as they should have been. I'm being done with church, right? Or I'm gonna throw the baby out with the bathwater because one thing happened to me, right? So like understand that even back then, this is thousands of years ago, right? And even Paul is teaching, and he's referencing thousands of years before his time, and he's saying, "Hey, look, we're going over this story about Passover again. We're going over this story again about our own lives. Like, look, it's snakes in the grass. Like, it's gonna be people within. You gotta watch the flock," is what he's telling them, right? So, and even in present day, don't think that is not the truth because you see counterfeits. The mere fact that you see a counterfeit implies that there is truth. You can't have a counterfeit dollar without the real dollar. You can't have a counterfeit coin without the real coin. You can't have counterfeit men without real men, ladies. So we still out here. You know what I'm saying? Like, understand that you cannot just disregard the truth, or I'm going to go and be a Catholic, or I'm going to go and be a Muslim, or I'm going to go and practice this new, phenomenon, what they call them, the little scientist group, right? Because now somebody did something, like, it's human. Don't attribute a human factor to the truth.
And I want y'all to understand that people utilizing God's words and God's means for vindictive and evil ways shows you the power of God.
Facts.
It shows you the power of what he's telling us. When somebody is evil who won't abide by themselves utilizes it as a means to control people, to disrespect people, to alienate people, to disconnect people, that shows you the power of that word. That shows you the power of that following the power of that work, which makes it even more important that you have a relationship with God, that you understand it, that you study for yourself so that you can call out bull crap when you see it, so that you have the discernment to differentiate between the counterfeit and the real thing. So don't miss that. A lot of us would much rather just call it like, oh, no, God can't be real because all this bad stuff is happening and people are using this. There's no way God's real. He wouldn't let this happen. No, you have to be able to discern who utilizes God's means and God's teachings in the correct way, and understand that just because somebody uses it for evil doesn't mean that the actual thing is evil, right? And then another thing that I like that Paul said, right? So during this, talk with his people before he left, he detailed out how you're supposed to act. Mm-hmm. It was almost like, hey, I ain't never robbed nobody of their money. I ain't never took nothing from y'all. I told y'all the truth and the whole truth. I love that. I told y'all the truth and the whole truth. I didn't tell you something that just made me look good. I didn't just tell you the parts of the story that sound great. I didn't just tell you about the Bible where everything was happy-go-dory. I showed you the bad stuff too. Right. I showed you what it truly took, right? So as a leader, this tells me that I have to live the things that I preach, which is why when I get on this podcast and we talk and we speak, I love to have the interjects where I say, I'm working on this myself. Yeah. I love to have the interjects that say, I can be better. I love when Hassan says, I'm talking to myself, because this shows that there is a sense of review. Not that we just out here talking out our butts. Not that we out here trying to make it seem like we the perfect individuals and we do everything to the right notion, but that we understand where we fall short. I'm not just going to tell y'all half the truth. I'm not just going to make it seem like I'm the perfect individual. I'm telling you everything about it. I'm telling you everything that comes with it. I'm telling you there are going to be long nights. There are going to be long days. There's going to be hurt. There's going to be fun. I'm telling you the whole story so that you can make a true decision. One of the biggest things that I hate, or one of the things that I do hate, is when somebody tells you half the story so you can't make an informed decision. Right. If somebody gears something to give you just a half truth, somebody gives you something to where you can only decide off of half the story, then you're not really making a real decision. You're just doing what the person wanted you to do in the first place. Right. So I love the fact that Paul took the time to say, hey, I didn't do any of this stuff. This is what I actually did. And not only did I do all these things, I told you everything that came with it.
Facts. Yeah. Two things. First thing is, I don't want y'all to miss the fact that Paul was a savage, right? He knew all of the stuff that was going on. He knew they were trying to kill him. He knew they wanted to arrest him. He knew they wanted to, basically tarnish his character, his reputation, and he still kept going, right? What are you going through in your life that you're like, oh, I can't go to church because I'm doing this? or hey man, I gotta stop this, blah blah blah, because maybe I can't read the Bible today because of this, right? Like your little obstacles have nothing in comparison to what Paul was dealing with. I'm talking to myself. I'm like, well, I need to get a workout in, or man, the church is kind of early, or it's kind of late, or they stay too long, or bro, he preached to dawn in the, you know what I'm saying? Preached to midnight, bro, revived somebody, brought them back to life, kept preaching up until the next morning.
With hitters after him.
With people on his head. You know what I'm saying? So, number one, understand that he was a savage, and when you're doing this and this walk and you're aligning with your purpose and you're, executing everything God has put you on a mission to execute, you got to be a savage. You got to press on. People may be trying to kill you. We talked about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They got sent to their death, and they were still on that.
Thrown in the fire.
And they still on that. What's up? You know what I'm saying? So, like, don't think that, like, Christians, you're supposed to be this meek, mild person where it's like, oh, my gosh, I had my first obstacle. Now I'm going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I can't do it. No, you got to be a savage, right? And the second thing is that, on that note of being a savage, God want to use savages. He needs some people that's going to be like, I'm on that regardless. I don't care what y'all talking about. I'm on that. We up. You got to understand that if you feel like you're unqualified to speak. At one point, I felt like I wasn't qualified to speak. I felt like I didn't know the Bible enough. I'm still having to search through my phone. It was like, is that Old Testament or is that New Testament?
Does that make sense? Who's this person?
Who is this person? Like, wait a minute. Did they say this or that? Like, understand that Paul was a person that his original name was Saul, and he was literally trying to persecute Christians. He was angry. He didn't rock with them. It was smoke with anybody that believed in Jesus. And God used that same person, changed his identity by changing his name, right? Because what you call yourself is important. So he had to change his name. You got to change your identity, and you can still become that person that God wants to use. So if you feel unqualified, if you feel like, I know what they're saying and they on camera, but I don't know if I could do that. Maybe it's not on camera for you. Maybe it's doing whatever your field is or whatever your lane is, right? But you can still do that. Don't feel like you're unqualified or God don't want to use you. In fact, you're the exact person that God wants to use, so he can see, hey, look how this person's narrative has done a complete 180. Mm-hmm. Look at how their story has completely changed and they living for me. Mm. Look at how I'm blessing them, and they used to be on drugs or addicted to this, addicted to that, in a gang, selling drugs, in prison, on death row. I don't know who this gonna reach, but don't think that you unqualified. You qualified in the eyes of God.
And that's big. And the last thing that I want to touch on is that following God, following your purpose, sometimes leads to goodbyes. Not just from bad things, from good things too. Paul had to say goodbye to people that he loved, people that he cared about, people that he grew with, that were a part of his journey. He had to say goodbye to them so that he can almost go to a certain death. You know what I'm saying? Along with his purpose. So understand that sometimes you're going to be separated from places that you enjoy that aren't evil places.
Right.
They could be places that are prosperous, as they talk about going through the valley. You start on one hill, go through the valley, and go to a next hill that was higher and better than the one that you were on, right? But it takes being in that valley. It takes taking that step of faith to get to another portion to where you can see the type of impact that you had. But understand that a pursuit of your purpose and following along with God does mean that sometimes you have to say goodbye to the people that you love.
Facts.
And that you care the most about, the people that were there for you and that have your back. And yeah, it's going to be a somber moment, but don't think that is almost like an end all be all. Don't think that just because I have to leave something that I love, that I'm going to something that doesn't mean anything. Everybody that you meet in your life doesn't get to come with you. Everybody that you meet in your life doesn't get to come with you. And they could be a great impact. They could be a bad impact. They could be whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to name it, however you want to switch it, flip it, turn it around, and reverse
Pop it, spin it.
Understand that some people cannot come on your path. That doesn't mean they're evil people, but sometimes you just have to separate yourself from a familiar environment so that you can be known in a place that God wants you to be known.
That part. It's Freewenow.
Till it is backwards.